Greetings from home. We bring you such an incredibly comfortable energy. We have stepped into your realm of expectation. For you have come looking for answers, looking for guidance, or looking for a nudge in the right direction. One that would give you validation. One that'll let you know that you're doing what you should be doing. Let us explain first that much of your life from this point forward may be minus some of that validation, especially on the first steps. For it is very difficult for you to validate your path with only one step. But the further you move into it, the further you create it, you get comfortable with your abilities to create. And that is what this is all about. That is where this piece will fit in. We wish to bring you this day a little bit of a view of yourself from another perspective, one that you probably have not considered before. And as you evolve through these different levels of what we are calling humanity, for they are certainly as much of an evolution as all the evolutions that you have documented through your own history. This particular one is an evolution on many different levels. For this particular evolutionary process that you're going through not only entails the physical being, this is actually the first time that you have evolved to a point where you could actually carry more of your own soul, more of your own light. And with the changes that are going on right now, even with your own physiology, for the physiology is starting to shift on levels that you have been unfamiliar with. The vagus nerve will become very important for many of you as you start to understand that is your interaction with the rest of the world. That is how the physical body feels other spirits and exudes yours and connects many of these connections. You have had discussions even here in the day where there have been talks about removing the veil and seeing how connected you really are to each other. But we also wish to bring up one piece here. For today, we wish to talk about harmony. Harmony is going to be one of the most key, important pieces that humans will have to learn to work with on their spirit. Energetic harmony. So how does two energies harmonize in some way? Well, first, let us go back and describe what we are considering to be harmony so you will understand it. If you take two notes on a piano keyboard that are very close together, you will end up playing chopsticks, which is tolerable but aggravating. It is because you have two notes that are so close together, they do not meet at regular intervals. They do not actually support each other. They are two unique notes that insist on being totally unique of each other. It is when you moved a comfortable distance on the keyboard, a comfortable distance apart, that you can hit what you call a chord, where two notes overlap each other at regular intervals and support each other. Not only do they support each other, but they create a third tone, which you hear as the harmony. It is a very magical piece when suddenly you are listening to music and suddenly you bring in a tremendous amount of harmonics and harmonies. Well, what we tell you in harmonies is that you only hear the three notes that make up the harmony. The first note that makes up this part of the harmony, the other note that makes up this part of the harmony, and the third note that you hear between. But what we are telling you is your ears are only capable of hearing certain pieces. There are overtone levels of that harmony that you cannot hear that we can. There are overtone levels of this harmony that will reach out into humanity much further than you have ever experienced as an individual. And this is part of the reason why harmony on this planet is becoming one of the most important pieces. Now that we have described this piece to you and talked about what harmony is, let us give you some of the challenges in finding harmony where you are right now. Let's take a look at one piece of humanity that has been with every single one of you over and over and over. In fact, it is known as the one motivating factor of all of humanity. What is it? It is pain. It is what you experience as pain. It is a great motivator. You have used it over and over on planet Earth to motivate you to do things or to not do things. In fact, if you will look at your own lives, many of your daily structures are made to avoid a certain pain. Well, what we are going to tell you is that as you start removing this veil, and as you start seeing the ways that you are connected, the first piece is that you must not own the pain as your own, for it is a shared piece, just like everything else. And the second part that we wish you to look at is that there is beauty in that darkness. And because you live in a field of polarity, and you have become so accustomed to judging everything as good or bad, we tell you there is no good and there is no bad. Everything is somewhere in the middle, depending on where you choose to put it at that very moment. But what we are going to ask you to do is to find that beauty in the darkness, even on those pains that you still carry. Each and every one of you has a life pain that you have carried with you. Some of you have resolved them, and yet they still kind of sit in this little bittersweet part of your heart. Well, these are huge motivators. And if you will look at much of your music, it is written from pain. Many of your beautiful poems, many movies are derived from the pain that you experience or the unusual situations you get into. What we are asking you to do is to prepare yourself for this next level of humanity now. Do not wait to be faced with all of the pieces of it. Start looking right now at the joyous pain that is in your life and that has motivated you in some way. And the first thing you can do is to give thanks for that, which is not something humans are accustomed to doing. For you believe that what you give thanks for will return to you, and you are motivated by this pain piece. And we tell you that if you know the benefit of that, you would gladly put yourself through that process, and your spirit often does. It is the humanness in you. It is the actual reaction of the animal itself, which you have blended with, that sometimes repeats the same patterns over and over and over again, looking for success on different levels. Many times when you go from this level to this level, your truth at this level, even though it was a very important truth to you, has less of effect on this level. Or perhaps needs to evolve a little bit to get from this level to this level. These are many of the changes that all of humanity will be evaluating and looking at and searching for the answers. The most important part is to keep in mind that you are building a new earth. There are the vibrations and the particles of dust have all gathered. All it takes is your thought. All it takes is your desire expressed as a thought. Those particles come together very magically, and you have created a new earth on which to live. Does that mean you will be switching planets? No, it will happen right here. The question we have for you is, are you ready to step into that earth? Are you ready to be fully responsible for your thoughts? Are you ready to be the creator that we told you have been? Are you ready to remove the veil? That is what is taking place. Every step that you step up as a collective removes a little part of that veil for every single person. No matter where they are in the bandwidth, if they are at the very top edge of the highest vibration, makes no difference of whether they are the lowliest of low on planet Earth at this moment. You are all moving together, and it is working. It is moving faster than the speed of love. It is moving faster, quite honestly, than anyone on this side of the veil had even anticipated. You are beginning to attract attention throughout the world, throughout your globe, on many different levels, because this evolution is not only in the area of spirituality. It is hitting every person on this planet. There are times that even it is necessary to go through with a wave of energy that can help all humans everywhere to alter and shift their vibration to the next level. And that is what is underway currently with what you are calling this flu virus. It is basically bringing new possibilities to many people who simply can find that extra push through the physical area. Because when you go through an illness of this nature, you do not come out the other end the same person. Very simply, you are vibrating differently. Does that mean that every illness is going to take you up a level? No, it doesn't mean that. It means that illness is simply a part of every part of your process. Illness is not always a sign of something wrong. That is a typically human concept that you have here. You must understand that you as healers, for many of you are helping other people to take these steps and to acclimate this new energy, to live in this energy and to use it every day. And this is the greatest peace that we can offer you as the healers of the light. To simply hold your knowledge, to know that you are on purpose on planet Earth in a way that only you could never see from where you are. It is also very important that you know that you have everything that you need to do your work. Many of you will be called to a new place. Many of you will suddenly find yourself without the support that you had. And you will wonder what you are doing wrong, why you are not being supported by the universe. You know that your spirit is there. You can feel the direction and the energy of your spirit. But you can't always reconcile it with your own movements and your emotional peace. But there is also another part coming, because we wish you to take one other look at one final piece that we will give you this day. Harmony. How do you harmonize with another? It is easy for the keeper to look out and see that he has known every single one of these beings, most of them many lifetimes. But it is not easy for him to remember that when we are not with him. It is a typical veil that keeps you from remembering your place. And to take the place of that, you build something called the ego. Now, the ego is your sense of self. It is your sense of not unity, but your sense of separateness. For that very reason, because it is your sense of separateness and your identity as a human being, many of you believe that the ego is going to be diminishing and going away. And we tell you that is close, but not quite the case, for you will always need the ego. You need the sense of self to pretend to be a human, very simply. But the basic understanding of your energy is different. Now, when you are hurt, we're going back to the pain for a moment. What is the greatest pain a human can have? Well, we tell you the keeper has broken many bones during his lifetime. He's experienced much pain, but none as difficult as an emotional pain that cracks the idea of what his ego was. We will say that again. You build these structures called the ego to house your identity as a human being. And when you have an emotional ripple that comes through you, or someone lets you down, or someone hurts you, or someone reflects you too accurately in some way, to where you can really see your own flaws, it cracks your idea of your ego. And it hurts. For that is the greatest pain. Now, if you are harmonizing pain and looking for the beauty in pain, we are also going to tell you to do the same thing with the ego. Find the beauty in it. There is no need to release it. It is a part of you. Now, if you are able to build a flexible ego, you can grow. You know it's not about you. For the challenge with the ego is the ego seems to have its own life. Many times it can grow so much that you cut the rest of the world out. You basically close the door to spirit because your ego has grown so much. All of you are familiar with that paradigm. And many of you ask, am my ego too big today? Well, we think that is absolutely hilarious, because if you really had a problem with it, you would not be asking the question. So the reality of it is that the ego must need to be in balance in both directions. Not only can it not be too high, but it can't be too low. And that is the biggest challenge that we see in these rooms. We need a balance to where you can stand up and say what you have of value. You can bring the message that you brought from home, and that you can deliver it without cracking this idea of your ego. This is the peace that we need to rebuild on planet Earth for humans to take the next step and to live as empowered humans. It must be not only an expansion of the ego, but a wholly different reworking of the ego. Instead of being a solid, rigid structure with no flexibility, we are now going to honor the people that come into our lives. And we are simply going to say, I like the effect you have on me. I will wear that effect very well, and I will bounce it to the rest of the world. And I will go around and I will blend, and I will start looking for the beauty. That is the one common denominator. That is the one piece above all. For each and every one of you came from home. You are not creatures of planet Earth. You are here on a short duration of a visit. And if we can help you remember where you truly came from, you will remember the fun little games and the rules that you set up so you could play this game. Dear ones, the rules are changing. You're changing them. We ask you to make your voice heard. Does not mean that you are the only voice. Does not mean you have all the right answers. But make your voice heard. Now is a time that you're creating a new world. Your input is needed. And if you experience pain, the first thing you do is feel it. Let it come completely over you. Let yourself experience the pain fully, because there is a gift in it. Find the gift, and the pain changes from negative to positive. Find the balance in your own ego. To where does that hurt my ego? Where does that hurt my solid, rigid core of who I believe I am? And if you can look at that, to where you can allow these reflections to come in, and you can incorporate them on the fly as you move through life, life will become much more of a flexible enjoyment of being able to fly over here and play over here for a little while. Oh, things are getting too serious over here. We're going to have to go over here and play for a little while, for that is the basic idea of what you are doing. You are spreading light every chance you get. Every time you smile, every time you speak a truth from your heart, your eyes flash and light goes throughout everything. You have reached more hearts than you will probably ever know, and many of you are just getting started. It's a new world. You have made it. We also wish to tell you this, for many of you have been in struggle. Many of you are looking for when life will get easier. Well, let us tell you, you made it. The hard part is over. Now, all you need to do is to alter your expectations. Enjoy this journey, dear ones. You are miracle creators beyond your understanding. And you are creating miracles every single moment. It is with the greatest of honor we ask you to treat each other with respect. Nurture one another every chance you get, and open the door for each other. It works. Remember, it's a brand new game you're playing. Play well together. Spavo.
Spavo. I have Kleenex here somewhere.
I think I'm doing all right.
You don't need them? No. The group did make you cry this time.
No, they were pretty balanced. They were almost like excited.